And woohoo! Hi everybody, Dave Kallaway, right here from 95.5 WIFC. And my good friend Chad Lemmens you're in Florida?
Yes, Winter Haven, Florida.
Winter Haven, Florida. And the reason why we're talking today, and especially for you drone geeks and all that, is to talk about the idea of covering an event. We've done plenty of events before, but this is a very unique one because a lot of this is going to be taking place over water as you're covering water skiers and a lot more. So, Chad, can you first of all kind of describe the situation? Is you're in Florida, you're going to be doing some coverage of this event. What all's happening?
Yeah, there's the U.S. ski team and some coordinations of some local ski clubs throughout the country got together in Winter Haven, Florida, which I will deem, and I don't even know if it's anywhere close to, the water ski capital of Earth. And they are doing a combination of events to try to set some world and Guinness World Records, national and Guinness World Records.
Wow.
On the chain of lakes that are here. There's a huge chain of lakes in the central Florida area.
Yes.
That they're going to utilize to do that.
Amazing. You know, the thing I think that's interesting about this is that, why just try and break a record? You were talking about more than one.
Well, I think it's because they're bringing a lot of people together, and a lot of people aren't from here. Some people are from out of the country. And they're really just trying to get people together to try to break these attempts. So they have to do that. But so you might as well try to stack up as many as you can while you're, going to do that.
Sure. Hey, let's talk a little bit about, you're well versed on how to cover this sort of thing. We talked about over in Shawano that there already was the world record attempt, and they made it. The world record that was for the most water skiers that were being pulled by a single boat. Is that kind of how it worked out?
That was the most water skiers that were barefoot skiing pulled by one boat. Yes.
Got it. So, and talk about these for a little bit here. Is that how many records are they trying to break this time around in Florida?
There's 17 total records.
Wow.
That they're trying to break. Yes.
That is absolutely
this time
amazing.
Around. All sorts of different events.
Incredible. I just think this is so cool. So, and then when you're covering all these things, the thing with covering it is you're doing it with a drone to get footage. And the footage, actually, let's talk about the footage first, is that it comes in handy because I remember I joined you in Shawano when you were covering the barefoot record breaking, and they wanted to look at the footage so that they could count and make sure, they had the right number of skiers at the right time.
Yeah, that's correct. So a lot of the footage I will be getting is more for evidence-based that either U.S. ski team or the Guinness can use to reference if the record has been broken as physical evidence.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. So it comes in handy, and it becomes their document so they can go, hey, we've got this many and here we go, and whether they break the record or not. So for you, what are your challenges now in trying to cover them down in Florida?
Some of the nuances here is different parts of the events are different parts of the lakes. Some are in the middle of the lakes. There's a landing point. Flying a drone when there's no landing point, requires me to do hand catches and hand launches. But they're all over the lake. Obviously, different events, different. Some people are ski jumping. Some people are doing turns and twists, and then hydrofoils. So there's all sorts of different events. So you have to understand what the event is, how fast the boats will go, and make sure you're using the appropriate drone when doing it.
So talk about that for a second, because I know that there's going to be some drone people who are either new to drone flying or well-versed in it. And when you're covering any of this, do you go through any choreography with them ahead of time?
No, I really don't. I kind of pre-plan it out in my head because you train yourself to do that when you're becoming Par 107 and you start to fly, more for commercial purposes. So I actually look at the skiers, look at the lines, how they're going to set things up, and then I go from there. So I don't tell them to do certain things. I just follow them and I do my thing.
Out of all the ones that you're going to be covering, all these attempts at breaking records and whatnot, what do you think is going to be the most difficult to try and cover with a drone?
I think there's a couple of single events that are happening right now shortly. I'm with the hydrofoil, most inverts in 3 minutes, but the hydrofoil, which I think will be very interesting. When I've done ski shows, I've always done multiple different people on the skis. So I'm anticipating a one-person ski show is a little bit different. So I'm super excited about it. And then there's some jumping events that are happening later that I'm super pumped with too.
Sweet. So the other thing to keep in mind for everybody who might be doing this at some point in their life, if they're going to cover a big event, is it harder to cover things that are over water with drones?
Yeah, I mean, you spend a lot of money you invest a lot of money into this technology and putting it over water, understanding you need to know where to go, how to land, where to take off from, and understanding your battery strengths and what the weather is like, so you understand how much battery yield you'll get. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people don't think about that is that's impacted when you start operating over water with these things. All outside of just being over water with an expensive thing, there's also your battery life, the weather, the boats, the people, the ropes, and then there's the footage. You got to get the right angles. You got to be at the right place at the right time. So there is a lot to consider when you're going through all this.
Somebody had asked me ahead of time here, and they're one of the drone user group people that like looking at those Facebook sites, and it was about sensors. And I said, well, Chad probably would know. I'll ask him when I talk to him. And so the whole idea of using sensors and using sort of autopilot, GPS and all that in your drone, is it work the same way over water?
It's a funny question. I've thought of it myself. I just flew over a hot tub not too long ago and over a pool pretty close down to the water. The interesting thing to consider is when your GPS uses a focus sensor on a certain area, given where it is in proximity to satellites. The ground proximity sensors work a little differently over water because it's not hard. So if the water's moving, you'll see that your drone may even actually move a little bit. And even considering the height of which you are compared to how deep the water is and where you started on land, it is a very much different way to fly, and understanding those nuances is necessary.
Wow.
But hey, not worried. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say is that, as you're getting this footage, are you doing post-processing kind of as you go, or you're going to wait to take care of all that after all of this is done?
Well, the good thing about it is I'm more of a kind of a volunteer of shooting the footage. So I don't have to actually do any post-production that I don't want to. So the good thing is I don't really have a lot of post-production need, albeit if I had to. Yesterday alone, for one event that lasted an hour and a half, I had over 25 gigs of video and photo footage. So it would take a long time to have to go through all that. So I do have it. I catalog it all. I go through my normal process, but thank gosh, I don't necessarily have to finish it all right away or at all.
Man, hello, hard drives.
Hello. I bought a 2 terabyte just for this weekend. So
I am not surprised. I mean, it just eats it up like crazy, but of course you're getting nice high definition video, and that just eats up tons and tons of hard drive space.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of great stuff to look at here. I was filming from an Airbnb house yesterday. That's where I just left from. And they actually had me come back today to do some updates to their Airbnb footage. So mixing in that with all of my other footage from the ski stuff, it's a lot of fun, but you have to have a process. So even though I don't necessarily have to dump all my raw footage, I could keep them on the SD cards. I do anyway, just so for my own process, know that there's other stuff mixed in there. So I have that all worked through.
So, and the last thing here for you, Chad, is that when will we be able to see some of this amazing stuff that you're going to be covering in Florida?
Well, I anticipate getting a lot more today, and I'm going to have some post-production time tonight, and I'll put some out tonight for sure.
Well, and everybody watching this, yeah, we'll make sure that they know. We'll give them a heads up, that you are posting footage so that they know where to go and what to see. And then, I mean, I just think this is going to be really amazing. It's always a learning experience. I notice whenever we've worked on projects together, but when you've worked on projects, I know you've known this, is that you learn as you go, and you kind of make that part of, your artillery for future projects. Like, yeah, I learned this and I learned this, and it could be technical stuff or shooting, photography stuff. It could be all kinds of things.
Yeah, it's all angles. It's all risk. It's all what's the best shot angle. I mean, the angles I think is the biggest, especially when you're moving from. I shot at a flower garden 2 days ago, shooting at a commercial real estate yesterday, and now I'm shooting water skiers. I mean, you can't. There's tools in your bag, and then there's tools in your bag. So I mean, it all varies at different times, and then you also want to make sure that the footage that you're capturing, even the stuff that I'm doing for this water skiing event, I'm going to use some of it. So I want it to be good quality stuff that I know at least one or two of the takes will be good enough if I ever wanted to put together a reel of any sorts, or they wanted to do a promo video with it. So I always try to get the best, best product possible when I'm there. But yeah, it is all pretty much unplanned depending on, because you have to depend on the circumstances, depending on how the wind is, the environment. Is it windy? Are there a lot of waves? Are they going to take us to the middle of the lake? I mean, there's a lot of different things to have to consider.
Well, you heard it here first. Chad's going to go get only 2 takes and then leave Florida.
Yes. The camera's still rolling. It just never stops.
It's good to have goals, right?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, this whole opportunity, and there's the skiers from around the world. You can see them. They come together, the camaraderie. I mean, it's hard to explain. And then even the people on the water, opening their houses to people, bringing them in, bringing them together, seeing this camaraderie is just something that is like inspiring. So, I mean, it's fun to be a part of this group. It's fun to be a part of it. And we're 1 for 1, I believe, on records that was set yesterday. I wasn't there to capture it, but I'm super excited to see what we can do for the next few days here.
Oh man, here we go. Well, listen, stay tuned, everybody, because I mean, yeah, we wanted to give you a little behind the scenes of how it gets covered, but you will be seeing footage coming up here soon online, and we'll make sure that we point you right at it. So, Chad, may the force be with you.
And also with you, Dave Kallaway. I really appreciate taking the time out of your day.
Oh, it's the best, man. Way to go. Woo! We got material. Yay!